Hello there friends, Seas News Live here. In today's video, who's the new offer for G2? Is Kyousuke really joining Falcons? Major invites officially released, plus the latest from PGL Bucharest, and a bunch of other exciting news from the world of CS2, so without further ado, let's get straight to it. And I think we shall kick off the episode with something everyone's been waiting for, the official invites for the Major and its qualifiers. Here's who made it straight to Stage 3. Vitality, Mouse, Spirit, the Mongols Eternal Fire, which is Aurora now, Navi, G2 and Liquid. Stage 2 invites went to Falcons, FaZe, 3D Max, Virtus.Pro, Pain, Furia, MIBR and MAT. So I guess congrats to the teams. Now let's talk about some of the teams who are in the qualifiers and are worth keeping an eye on. And first up is Astralis. Surprisingly, they've started to look much better recently, though they're still dealing with some issues. Can Cadian and Device really make it? They've got some competition. For example, the Team 500, who are constantly under suspicion for cheating and match fixing. Gamer Legion is also back in the spotlight. For years, they've been proving that they don't need superstars to build a solid lineup. According to their coach Ash, the motivation is simple. Nobody wants to go back to Tier 2 scene, which is full of cheaters and weird teams. You should also watch Fnatic, who made a bold move by benching the CS legend Krems after 11 years with the org. Just imagine guys, 11 years for a single team. In all that time he only took one 3-month break, but played over 2,000 maps and also won 2 majors. Has been replaced by Borup, and you know what guys, their HLTV ratings are pretty most identical. Krems has 0.94 and Borup has 0.95. Another interesting team to watch is Pari Vision. They've been showing promise among Tier 2 squads lately. And James seems to have regained confidence as an AWPer, while the team itself blends young talent with solid experience. The European qualifiers will run from April 14th to April 17th. As for South America, there's not much to get excited about, except maybe Imperial, who keep struggling against Tier 1 teams, but they can still dominate most of their local rivals, so there's a chance that they make it through again. There's also Legacy, who made headlines by upsetting Liquid, but haven't looked nearly as sharp since. The SA qualifiers will be held from April 15th to April 17th. Now let's talk about North America, where things just got way more interesting. First, out of nowhere, Complexity has become NA's very own Vitality. They're currently on a 13-game win streak, and they've already won the qualifiers for Yala Compass 2025. And they also made it to PGL Bucharest through qualifiers. But we will talk about this tournament a little later. And you know what's crazy, my guys? They're doing all this without a coach. Instead, standing behind them is their general manager, Macioso. So I guess that earns a lot of respect. The second huge favorite in North America is Energy. They've built a pretty exciting roster, and ever since signing Innershine as an analyst and second coach, their game has only gotten better. And of course, we can't forget about Wildcard. They did everything they could to make it to the American Armors, and they pulled it off. Now the only question is, will siuhy be playing with them or without them? I just hope that siuhy stays. The NA qualifiers will also take place from April 15th to April 17th. If we look at China, Oceania and Asia, each region has one clear favorite. In China it's Rare Atom, who played at the last major and looked pretty solid, in Bucharest as well. In Oceania it's the ever-present FlyQuest, who recently benched Dexter by the way. And in Asia it's the Huns, who already made it to PGL Astana. So we will see them competing there. All 3 regions will run their qualifiers from April 15th to April 17th. And since we're talking about the major, we've got to mention some important rule changes. They were introduced for the major regional qualifiers and the main event. First off, no more roster changes after the roster lock. However, each team is now allowed to register 2 substitutes, as long as the regional slot stays the same after the swap. If a team needs to make an emergency sub, they must notify the admins at least 10 minutes before the match starts. It's also now possible to make a substitution between maps, but only for medical reasons. Another huge change is that during the MRQs, coaches are no longer allowed in the room, only the 5 players can be present. I just remind you that the MRQs, the major regional qualifiers, are played online. There are also new rules about regional slots. Teams can play now outside of their own region, but they must get approval beforehand. And starting now, Kazakhstan has been officially added to the Asian region, while Russian teams, despite the geography, will continue to compete in European qualifiers. Lastly, let's talk about the new dress code. From now on, players can only appear on stage wearing official team gear that includes team jackets and hoodies. Shorts are banned, and wearing jackets from any other brand is strictly prohibited. Unfortunately, Onipexel didn't make it, so I guess we won't see any jeans on the stream. At least not on the official one. Speaking of team outfits, there's a pretty funny story involving Team Liquid. If you look closely at recent player photos, you'll notice that siuhy is actually wearing a jersey that belongs to another player, and not even from the CS squad, but from Liquid's Dota 2 roster. It kinda feels like they either didn't have time to make him his own jersey, or maybe they just didn't want to bother for a stand-in. After all, if he ends up living, at least they didn't spend as much money on extra merch. One team that's definitely not cutting corners is Falcons. After buying out the heroic trio and Nico, they're now set to sign Monte in the coming days, as you already know because we discussed it in the previous episode. If you didn't watch it, go do it now. But to round out that super team, they need one more young star, and that might be just Kyousuke. According to Dust2.us, the rising talent from Spirit Academy is expected to sign with Falcons really soon. He's reportedly set to replace Stasis in the lineup. The only question is now when it will happen, because the official roster lock is on April 18th. So if Falcons want to field both Monte and Kyousuke at the Austin Major, they'll need to announce those moves before the deadline. Also, the Austin Major can be the turning point for Zonic's career. 3 analysts at once, Maui, Snake, Kassad and Thorin, all agree if Falcons don't reach the major finals with Monte on board, it might be the time to move on from Zonic. Of course, that's just their opinion, and maybe a bit dramatic, but realistically, if there are no results, even a legendary coach like Zonic could be on the chopping block. So, even if, or should I say when, the Monte transfer becomes official, one big question remains: who's gonna be the new sniper for G2? On one hand, there are fairly credible reports that the team is looking to loan Hades, the AWPer who's already proving himself with Ants and Monte. But on the other hand, analysts and journalists are all saying the same thing. The biggest PR move G2 could make would be to sign s1MPLE, at least on loan. That one move would blow up the internet. Massive hype, a huge fanbase boost, and a major spike in tournament viewership. And let's be real, s1MPLE himself would love to have a chance to play at a major again and remind everyone he can still dominate or at least go toe-to-toe with the best. I mean, bros, if G2 actually do it, we could be looking at one of the most exciting majors in a long time. The only thing that matters is whether Sasha puts in the work and shows up ready. My friends, what do you think is best? To take the risk and bring in s1MPLE, or to play safe and go with Hades? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Speaking of Monte, they decided to chase some hype too, and did it in the loudest way possible. They claimed to have signed not one, but 2 French legends at once, Canis and Shox. Naturally, the media went wild trying to break the news as fast as possible, while Monte just sat back and watched the chaos. But 5 minutes in, the truth came out. It was all just a prank. They deleted the initial post. Just like that. And after it, they announced the new additions, Afro and Haji. Surely a comeback from Canis Shox, just like one from S1MPLE, would have been amazing to see, but this kind of bait? Maybe a little bit too much, my friends. Still, you can't deny that they nailed the wow factor. Back to PGL Bucharest, there's been some drama behind the scenes. Zews, the former coach and pro player from Brazil, was removed from casting lineup by PGL themselves. The reason? He was often a bit too blunt with his comments about the teams, and the community didn't appreciate his style, which many felt lacked focus on the actual gameplay. On top of that, he was obviously biased towards Brazilian teams, which started to rub people the wrong way, both viewers and even his co-casters. Zews himself admitted that he needs to learn how to express his thoughts more carefully and react better on air, saying that the community just wasn't ready for his style of casting. And now, my friends, let's take a closer look at the current state of PGL Bucharest. Despite some shaky moments, G2 managed to finish the group stage 3-0. Right alongside them are 3D Max, who also locked in a playoff spot with the same record. At T1, we've got Complexity, Gamer Legion, Aurora, FaZe, Virtus.Pro, and surprisingly Apogee. Or not that surprisingly. If you watched our previous episodes, you know that I said that they're cool, and other teams should treat them with respect. Now I just hope that they will make it to the playoffs. So far at PGL Bucharest, they've already beaten both the Mongols and Astralis 2-0, but they lost to Furia on day 1. I guess they were just a little shaky, you know, nervous. A lot of people clearly underestimated them because they mostly played online events before this. Turns out it was a big mistake. As for the teams on the brink of elimination, we've got Legacy, the Mongols, who were actually tournament favorites to be honest, Astralis, Furia, Falcons, and Rare Atom. And so far, 2 teams have already been knocked out. It's Liquid, who probably just haven't adjusted yet to their new IGL and his playstyle, and Pain Gaming, a team that's been in the scene for a while now, but still struggles against top-tier opponents. All in all, this tournament is showing once again, don't sleep on the underdogs and don't overhype the favorites. Even if it's not the most important event of the year, PGL Bucharest could still shape a few careers. And that's all for today, my friends. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, follow the channel, and drop by in the comments below. And if you don't want to miss out on the latest CST news, make sure to hit the notification bell. I'm not saying goodbye for a long time, my friends. See you soon.